understanding, how that everybody's at a different place, a different purpose. That the deal about like what I said about the pulling. Understanding why you're pulling the cart, and maybe there's people that are along with you that don't even care if there is a cart, and understanding where that's getting you to where you make better use of your time. You're not butting heads. If you understand where they're coming from, where they're going, then you can work together better, I guess.
Yeah, I would agree with you 100%. And it's that the reason I bring up that topic, because it's relevant to everybody on this call, especially you guys with teams, right? So like Jeff, for example, with you, man, with what you guys have in your operation up there, who's out of the team that you have, right? Are they aware of whether they're pulling the cart, whether they're pushing the cart, like what their position is within your guys' operation, or no? I can't hear you. I have to unmute yourself.
Most of the time, I think everybody knows their roles, especially when we're more structured when we're actually in the field than when we're not, because everybody knows they're in the morning, they get here, fill fuel, do this, look the machines over. It just depends on the time of year. And that's, I guess, a weak spot where I'm a little lazy on getting structure put into place when we have those down days.
Yep. Okay. Or what type of impact does that cause with you and your dad and your brother, that the guys are sitting around and not really knowing what to do?
Well, that's still there's that triangle, my brother and my dad and me, and it's who's running the show that day. That's not a defined, that's still a little bit of an issue, not as much as it used to be, but it makes it harder when you have three bosses.
Yeah. So have you gained any ground there, Jeff, to where you feel like you have more, authority with them and things like that, or no?
Oh, absolutely. I just going through your program and learning more about myself, and knowing that you're the problem most of the time. It's once you establish that, people are looking for you to take the reins. It's like you're expecting someone to give you something, and that's never going to happen. You got to create your own destiny.
Yeah, well, 100%. But so, do you feel like that's a battle between you and your dad and your brother, though? Because I think if I remember from like several of your stacks, you'll get the guys squared away for the day, and then they'll come in and just screw shit up.
Well, we have a particular American worker hired man. He's been with us a long time, and that's our fault, because it's too many jungle rules where he calls my brother, which is usually doing the book work and 60 miles away. And then if he doesn't get the answer he wants from me, he'll call this guy. If he doesn't get the answer he wants from my brother, then he'll call my dad or talk to my dad until he kind of gets what he wants to do. And it's not a bad guy. It's our fault because we didn't lay down those rules right away, the pecking order.
There's no clear source of communication, though, right?
Right.
So, guys, this is why I bring up like Voxer with a lot of you. Okay, and I know some of you guys are on radios and things like that, but a majority of you communicate with your team, your parents, or whoever you're working with based on the phone. Right, you're playing phone tag all day freaking long and wasting hours throughout the year just sitting there listening to the damn phone ring. Right. So that's why I bring up like Voxer for a team communication standpoint, because with my teams, like it's quick. Everybody knows what's going on. Everybody's updated. Everybody's like in the conversation together. Now, when the only time you guys actually, like, this is what's funny, Jeff, is the reason you guys all work pretty well when it gets to harvest time is because everything that comes over the radio, does everybody hear it? Yes or no?
Yes.
And everybody knows what's going on and they're clear, right? So why do we not do that the entire time throughout the year? Well, I mean, that's why just that small tool, I've tried to hit you guys hard with it a lot of times, because we're able to operate efficiently, just like you guys do in harvest right now. We're able to do that clear throughout the year, just like clockwork, and everybody knows what's going on at all times.
Yeah, and there's like my brother. That's where I'm realizing that falls on me. Like I'm expecting someone to take the reins all the time and get it figured out. I've got the problem and I put it out there, but I don't have the solution. Or do I get lazy and not figure out the solution? I'm always used to, from the past, letting my dad or my brother figure out these solutions when I'm bringing up the problem. Yeah. And that's where I need to still get better. Like communication between my father and my brother, that's something we need to just get nailed out right away, like pecking order. Like, okay, if it's a shop day, that's my world. And if it's hauling grain and trying to get insurance, that's my brother's world, but that's also coincides with this world. It's just communication should be a lot better between my brother and my dad. And it's easier said than done, but that falls on me too.
No, I can definitely see that. And with everybody on here, I can see some of you smirking because a lot of you are in the same situations there. Nobody knows what the heck is going on, and there's confusion across multiple channels. Because you think about it, it's great to have people, but every new person you bring onto a team, for example, like, so say you go from 3 people to 4 people. Jeff, how many additional sources of communication did you just open up by adding one more person?
A great plenty. And every time you reach a certain number, like I know I associate everything with the field with combines. When we ran 3 combines, it was more clockwork. When you add that 4th, now you need another truck. Now you need another operator, and then so on. You had 5, then it just, every number you add from that one where you had your shit together, now it's just more chaos every number that goes up. And that's just getting stuff figured out, I guess.
Yep, 100%. Well, and so if you have a team of 3 people and you add a 4th one, now there's individual lines of communication happening between all of them simultaneously. So adding a 4th person actually adds a lot more complexity to the operation.
And things can get out of hand real quick, because when there's a problem, I've done that myself. I'll complain about one of the team members to other team members, and it's like, well, I have the problem with him. Why didn't I just go to him right away?
Yep. Yep.
Just dragging it out. Well,
and again, that's the purpose of like the team communication as well, right? Reason is because when you have a problem, when somebody else screws up, it's beneficial for everybody to know what the mistake was, right?
Absolutely.
So now correcting one person's screw up, you're actually training the rest of the team as well on what not to do.
Yep.
So there's benefits around just being completely transparent too with your entire team, so everybody knows where the mistakes were. He did this. Okay, I can't do that next time. But we pussyfoot around that stuff because we try to keep it private, or we don't have the discussion at all. We talk behind somebody's back, which is just going to be separating the team altogether.
Yeah, it's hard not to all of a sudden you get division.
Yeah, it's very easy to build it that way. Eric Bream, how have you guys, when you first started with the operation and came back there, what was the communication like between the team that was there?
Oh, it was good. It was good. I run a small enough operation that I don't have a lot of those issues. But just listening to this, I kind of equate it to parenting. If one of your children calls mom and doesn't get the answer they want, and then calls dad, and if you guys aren't on the same wavelength there, you're going to wind up with some pretty big problems. So I just kind of look at it and say, well, if you wouldn't do that with your kids, why would you do it with your employees?
Yep. 100%. Right. And then too, as the family gets older, now you got to get to the point where we have group communication just between the entire family. Right. So like Rachel, for me, and especially you guys right now in the middle of harvest and things like that, it probably gets pretty frustrating if your wife is trying to call you throughout the day, right? You're in the middle of something, you get pissed off, you get triggered there. It's pretty easy to do that. I get it. Right. But even like with me and Rachel, Voxer is a huge asset to us because she can send me a message. She can see when I see it. Right. And she knows I'm going to get back to her when I can and as quickly as I can. Right. But just having that, because a text message, I will forget about a text message. 100%. I will forget. I'll be doing other shit. I will not remember that stuff. But a Voxer, like for some reason, it's just easier for me to remember those things. And it's quicker too, because I can just hit the button and respond and get everything out within 10 seconds. Right. So Jeff, for you and Amy, for you, I mean, it would be interesting, Jeff, to have you download that and set up a communication between your dad and your brother, because your brother's 60 miles away. Might as well be 4 hours. Right.
Same difference.
Yeah. When it comes to what's going on day to day on the operation. So if you're wanting to control what's happening there, if you're wanting to control and take over what's happening on day to day operations, then it'd be pretty beneficial for you to actually map out step by step what's going to happen that morning, and then sending them a Voxer saying, hey, this is what we got planned for today. And this is what's happening. I've already got the guys lined up. And then if your brother has something to say there, he can chime in and share that back with you. But your dad's involved in the conversation as well, so everybody's updated.
Right, and then from the start, it should just be the three of us. Don't add that hired guy into the mix. Because sometimes you have to talk it out, a decision beforehand, and it just, I don't know. That's when miscommunication starts. I've seen it 100 times.
Yeah, because you'll talk with your dad, and then you'll talk with your brother, and then they're talking behind closed doors without you.
Yes. That's one. You hit it right there.
And that's where a majority of confrontation is happening within your guys' operation. For those of you that are working with family or with your spouse.
Is that an app, or what is that?
I'll put a link to it in there. Some of you guys, and I'm on it too. All of you guys need to know, if you do download it, you can reach out to me on there as well, on top of just like workplace chat. But some of you, I've been communicating with you on there as well, just on small things. But it's extremely valuable, and it's quick, it's efficient. You can get a message back, play it back. You can see when people read your message, which is critical, because some of you guys, the way you communicate with your team is through text messages, right?
Yep.
Okay. And then mentally now, yes, it's great that you sent a text message, but now mentally, are you worried about whether or not they saw it?
Yeah.
Because you can't see it. The great thing about workplace, for example, is I can see when you guys have seen a message. It drops down. So I know when Jeff saw the message this morning about, hey, what are the topics and discussions for today? Right. Same thing with Voxer. It's going to show you when your brother has listened to the message. It's going to show you when your dad has listened to the message, so you know. And then the clock is ticking. Hey, I'm expecting an answer back.
Yeah, with messaging, I've done that so many times, especially with the Ukrainian workers. I'll send them a message, and I'll have to send it again 2 minutes later. Like, I'll say, please let me know if you got this message, because I have no idea. Then that screws up everything if they didn't get it.
And what we try to do, like in workplace too, guys, it's a small conversation, guys, but this is absolutely critical. Communication, like lack of communication in your guys' operation, is where a lot of the problems come up, right? But even inside a workplace, Jeff, if we're sending a message with one of you guys, for example, or between our team, like just like the message, just to not saying, oh, I liked it, but literally just saying, hey, I read this, I'm aware, just something small like that. So with the iPhones and stuff, you can do that, but with Voxer, it's just a lot more efficient, and you can respond via voice instead of typing out, a paragraph of text message.
Yeah.
So has anybody on here downloaded that yet and started using it with their team, or no? Okay, Jamie, do you and Katrina use one another, or no?
We downloaded it. We haven't used it a whole lot, but we have downloaded it, and even with the kids. But of course, kids are Snapchatting more than anything.
They're doing all that.
Got to have a video. You got to have a video along with it. You can't just say something. So
otherwise, it's too boring.
Yeah.
All right. So that's where I put a lot of that stuff there, guys. When it comes to communication, just download that app and make sure you're squared away on that, because it'll help make things a lot more efficient. And like I told Jeff, like just keeping your team running efficiently throughout the year instead of just in harvest.
Yeah.
And again, it's open source communication and things like that.